Will you tell me your name, please?
Madeline Solomon.
Madeline, what are you going to tell me about?
About older times, how people made their living, used to live. I'll start now. Well, I'll say it in Indian because maybe I couldn't explain it really good in English. Tlero isi khalte yordon, tlero khahugaltsol. Kisak yuba bakala dona. Tok okun khayokok on klinikiya ot I khardarino. Tlero khabahugaltsol. Tlero dokhiyan khalte tlero khabor don litsano kadadadak. Odu khon khabor don li yezilash. Debayu de tlikni iqassaqai ina kil qail. Solt en yilhalten dan iqaqahatet nistataharol kortohuna halte. Qodak o inish an khokhol I. Yaqasolt en halte qonqedel qonts. Qalli illach tsuhilts halte khan khokhol I. Yaqat qalt uts halte khaton oho halte niltsogon khalqal. Yaqa I tlero tsatat luskiya qodat hadla o khadarini. إذا حلت خيتن أول إذا حلت خبا يو حلت تابيل يديتلون تيكو كل قايو حلتتن أن خن خخل فيش تراب تال أون يل أوش يل يك أخي غوش تخن خخل إيكو قوق تكن قوق هون تيكو خلوق التوخ خلت إيكو سولت أنا خلت من قخبا خلت قنو دودل خلت يو سوق دونو ستلون اوقو تيو خلت نون سو توبان خلت باخا خوقاق داني اون قانتا ايكو سوقا ايدا خلت غوخا غلنيش تيو خلت خيل بات تست خيغا يان غون ايدا خلت قخلل يخلت نخينل تخلتغنا خيدن تخلت قيش توت اوكي خلت نيل نمان نخيت كتسخو خيتقنوك وعدن كون تسوكن اون خويلياش خلت خويدو دا نونالتلو دغنيت كن إدو قاديت خلت نو يوبا دول كن الآن تخلت تساقي خين خدل نختخيان تيكو تابيل يخديت اوشتخ خلتنا خيل تشيت تخيان خلت تكون خيدتلو تيكو تاخيت الكيشت تكون ناخيل تشيت لهطلون خيان تاخيل كيشت كو قال أدلاش تخلت كيلت اتنا ليان خلت قداك أخوان ليت أدلاش خدغيني قدان كو أدلاش توخ سانخلو بدلاي تخو إيكو إيدا خلت خوش خاني خلت قلني الكوت نيو بابي أدتني أدلياقات خيط أول تيو خلت تلو خطات لأوت خلت خيق أو إلنيش قوتنا يو خلت نيو ديب نتي خلتونو تاخب ديلاش تخو يقبك أعديغ نول تخونا خلت بيدوي خيل غشت دو خبنو دخلت كون دنايو خلت كو خبيلتد آن تهوي قاقاس خباخا قتني خوتي اوش تخلت نيل هوني خدنش تخلت يقا خوش توخ خلتك إيلق أنالت أول نلان تخيان خلت خطلو ألكك إيقو قال قدا باب أدني خدي تيل ليش توخ تلغو خباني خاخو غلط سول قدا إيقو ندان إيتزان كوخيت خازنيدن إيتغيل كون خويل خودني إيقو إيتكون نيل غنوك غودوك تسدني أوي بوتلاتستد أنتونا بوتلاتستن خل أهنينو خوخوتي أو تغل نيل غنوخي ددال تغل كن إي أتلكوديوز دتلك خلت نيل أن خطلون إي قنون نونالتلودا نيل كوز دتهادليوز تغلت إيكو تسيني أنت تهود إكتو خطتاخي أوستخلت تلاتلا إيكو سولت أن خلت خدنا ينا خدني قاس خدغيني خلت نيو قاسينا خيدي غوي أخا Iko kiikit iko santoh. Oda iko tabil akhal nicht tohtlon khalta oda iko kiikinil qors tadlioi. Ida khaltat oda ninat osh. Talt iko adat khail an talt qeistut ok khalta khayna osh. Sakhal yiqal nilt ogatsan sakhal qala. Khalta tsokin on iko idu ku khoiliyash. Khalta oda tlo khabo khoitadle oi. Oda iko khatik el kun ttlekta adan yikhiro. Tlo khatadle ot khaltik el qon khadat qon la qon qalat Akhya akhaku ok del qon. No you could you close it? Kin itorotli bisne akhatin qon qadat qon. Tla khayonik atlish tloron khalta qadat akho khan hushl. Tsati qon qadat qon intakhlte tlo khablo yokhdagila. Keltat lo yin khodet lo. Qoda iko baba atni khoti tillish takhalte qoda tatlekt tadanash danayu osh yirosh nilqat itnat li khailni khot lillik itosh khalte ko bi todanali yu lik kelqe doyon khalte qoda tlo itoyon nilan khalte likin tirat an khatarini ts ita khalte khodadido تقولنا يكو خبيل خد تلتلي شولت أنيل إيكو ساقاي أوش يتودل تند أنا إينا خلتلي خقوت خودل إيت هالتقدات زانك أخدال زيلو يو يكني دون تخقادت أنقا إيكو قالك إلتنا لتقولي إيت خلت خبت ألكك أون يشتول تلكون إذا خلت ساقاي أخو خلت ملك غيلا إيكو إيدي سخلت قدا خلت قداني إيدناش تخلت خخل قاش قدا إيكو أدخطون دني نخيناش تخ خلت خخل قاش تخو إيكو أسيو قني خدلاش تخو قدا إيكو نيبال خيلني خلت خون خدل كيشتل يوبتسيش للدول لوني نلقون غنا لقون إذا خلت خون دل كيشتل تخونون لخوتاني تخلت خدار القون تخو خوزون تنيخوا خدل ياش كو إشتلوك ثلاث بيدو دات ستوكي إيدي يكون دكاتني أون دار القون كون خدول خول خلت إيكو خوختي تلقوش توخ ياخاك إلو غدي تلقول لاغا قدي كوك أتن دنخ توخ إلو نوخو خدي تلقوكا كن إيتلاش خيلني أخاخيا نوخو خدي تلقوش إندك إدي تيني لوت بوتل نش إيكو إيدي دخان أغلقو خلت دكاتني أون دار قون خلت قون خدات الخوخ قدا قادخ من تسايد داخ تخلت دنا يوني القات تدال كيل خوخيان كون ختلناكا ندارت تلكو خلتني القات خلتنا ختناش نونلو كوديلنو نونلو خلقتنا خو خلتني القات تلكت ختناش تيخو قدايو دونت ان خندك كنون اهوش تيخو خوت التنا اليول تخيان خلت خباني خلت خوغيزو اختخلت إيجت أخلت ننقوق بخولان خلت أدوني خدولك تخنو نودا قلاتوخ أدي خلت ديت سانت ناردنيك قد يكون خوخا كين إن إزوق الخول كوت سخدين كونو دا قلات خبوت لي تلتال تيخو إكونا اليول تخلت يقيو دونت أنك أنون أهوش تخلت قدا إيتقودون دتلكت بتتلي إيد دال تخو إقوت ليك أتهول تلخو خلت تق أخد الياش نو يقوديني تلون خو خويل تخو كيلقن يا خلت قدا خطيا أهوش إتنتهن إكوك دوك أتهول دكن قو آخا إتخلت إقوت تتلكت خي ألاش تخلت Tlero halta khayor sodel tsish. Qodati sant natolnila tsoilhtanish iko okhatoh. Tsohalt iko ay ook atan hukon international halta qoda yuk eldon yuts atadal. Halta adoni khokhtalito tsohoko. Inte qant atakhalte adoni khokhlash kelten yortatluktsani khidal. Tsohalt qoda khay qada tli iko betsish. Qoda khoya qoda khay alai. Qodi kungo yu tu qodi tokhot antsnoi agotha khaslet lot tsokha tokhut ektskhati. Onoi isku khugitlan. Idon tohtona. Bethot liyi idakhalte babab idbezoltlo tsata anish. Tsokhalte khayitsa atlisht. Tsokh khaytsulte de tliktsios khok o khaylash. Ohatis ku khaylak ikonoi a. Tsokho Oda iko khuluq otni khutili takhalte. Iko solt an khaltek alal khoyts adalash. Iko betsishtel an iko kutzol yil khalte. Yiktok akhadil qosh. Iko nilang kun yakhil qosh. Ida khalte oda yun la akhotlte tet ish oda qana khatte daltsen. Tsok oda ida khalte iko khuluq otsi khatodel takhalte. Ninna khalrok. Tsokha khalte Etoho khatoliak idon tohtona. Kodats anti ikhalte. Tero ador on khadalnik. Tsoro dohian khaboton litsanok adadadak. This is the way that they used to live. From springtime and all what they were doing in summer and in fall time and in winter till the spring again. The whole year what they've been doing to make their living. That's what I was telling about in Indian.
Madeline, I'd like to ask you some questions about when you were a very young girl. Where were you living when you were a very young girl?
I was living at Nulato. That's where I was raised. I came from Koyukon River, Katil, but I was adopted at Nulato, and that's where I was raised. And 4 years I stayed down at Holy Cross Mission too.
Who were your parents?
My real parents was the Clavers of Koyukon River, but Cecilia and William was the one that raised me at Nulato.
How old were you when you came to Nulato?
I don't really remember because I don't even know. I was just small, start crawling around when they adopted me.
As a young girl, do you remember going out to fish camp?
Oh yes, we used to stay at fish camp every summer. I even remember when there was an earthquake and all the fish racks fell down to the ground with all the fish on it, right across Nulato.
Was your parents' fish camp right across from Nulato?
If any place they used to go, one summer they stay one place, another summer they stay the other place. Wherever it was good fishing, they stayed.
Did your parents have a very large fish camp?
No, not very large, because there was a lot of other families with us, you know. Mostly we used to stay on the other side of Nulato. There used to be big camp, and when I was a little girl, we used to go way up around on the bar. We used to play all day with the kids, and we were gone all day. So finally, my father told all the kids, there is something. I heard good news. There is something going to happen tomorrow morning. At 5 o'clock tomorrow morning, it's going to snow apples, and the first one that gets to the bar is going to gather all the apples. So we all went to bed early and got up 5 o'clock in the morning. We all went to the bar. No apples, no snow, nothing. And then we found out why he said that afterwards, because we stayed away from work. I guess that's why he said that. Even we were able to help our parents. We were just playing most of the time.
How did your parents catch the salmon from their fish camp?
In fish wheel. They used to have fish wheels, a lot of fish wheels in those days. Nowadays the men don't hardly stay at fish camp on account of the firefighting, and mostly the women do all the fishing with fish nets. Very few of them have fish wheels, not around here at Nulato and up the river.
What time of year did your parents move into town?
You mean after fishing?
Yes.
That's in September, first part of September. Sometimes, and then we never used to go to school much in those days. They used to go out where they stay for the winter with us, and we stay out the whole winter sometimes. Never had much schooling at all.
Where did you go in the wintertime with your parents? Where was the camp? Where were the camps?
Way down the river where they call Eagle Island, around Eagle Island.
What did your parents do on Eagle Island?
Trapping.
Did you stay with them in their cabin then all winter long on Eagle Island?
Yes. There was another family that used to stay with us. His name was Papa Willie. They also adopted a girl. At the same time I was adopted from Koyukon, from here. And her name was Teresa. She was married to Dennis Silas. He's still living in Nulato. And she's got 2 boys that's living too. And we were adopted at the same time. And then our parents were friends, so they always used to stay one place, and we grew up together, this woman and me. So I wasn't alone, I had company all the time. Most of the time we used to stay where there is a lone trapper, white man. And while our parents go out, they used to leave us with a white man, and we used to play around his house, give us meals sometimes, while our mothers go out with rabbit snares, and our dad used to go out with traps. They had no babysitter, but this white man was their babysitter.
Can you tell me well, first let me ask, did you see any potlatches when you were at winter camp? Did you ever come into town for a potlatch?
Oh yes, we've seen a lot of potlatch. The first stick dance I ever seen, I just could barely remember, was at Nulato. It was in Chief Ismail's house. A small house too. That's the first stick dance I ever seen. And in springtime, when everybody come out from Caillou, they used to catch lots of muskrats and dry them for the potlatch. There used to be a washed-up dance outdoors. One time there was a steamboat, they called it Teddy H, came out from Koyukon River. And there was an Indian woman on that Teddy H. She came out of that boat while the washed-up dance was going on, everybody singing. And us too, we were trying to dance, do our best. And she came and untied her hair and started dancing. Her hair was just flying all around her. We all stopped dancing and started looking at her. They called her, I don't know her name in English, but her Indian name was Dayaha.
How long did the potlatch go on, the first one that you saw?
The stick dance? Oh, about 5-6 days, I guess. I just couldn't remember. I just remember only the stick dance that I seen few rounds, and I don't know what happened after that.
Did they have the stick outside or was it inside?
Inside the house.
Were there many people dressed at that stick dance?
I don't remember. I don't remember that at all.
Do you remember any other stick dances that you saw?
Yeah, a lot of others, ever since I started to know what stick dance means. And I don't stay away from them either when I have a chance. Because we really like that stick dance. It's our dance. It's the dance for older people, I think, mostly.
Can you tell me when you first went to school?
I don't remember the day I first went to school down at Nulato. But when I went, I've been I was 10 years old, I guess, when I was sent down to Holy Cross. And then I started to know what school meant then.
How long did you stay in Holy Cross going to school?
4 years. And that wasn't long enough. I should have stayed more.
What did you do when you were in Holy Cross?
Go to school and help to work on the gardens, weed the gardens, and played mostly of the time.
Did you get to come home during the summer times?
It was in April that my father and mother went down to get me with dog team.
Did you ride on the sled all the way back to Nulato?
Yes, all the way back to Nulato. And they picked up one girl from Anvik that was going to school there too. Her name was Jessie Muchman. She's Jessie Anderson now in Fairbanks. I didn't have a chance to see her last fall when I was going to the workshop up there. I heard she was in town, but just for a few days, I think, because they said she was going back outside again.
Do you remember the sled trip from Holy Cross back to Nulato very clearly?
Oh yeah, I remember every one of it. We stayed three days at Grayling, where they call Grayling now. There was a man, his name was Leo Damaske. He had a little store there. People were cutting wood for him, and it started raining, so we stayed there 3 nights. And then it started getting cold, and we started again. We stayed in a tent. I don't know whose trapping place it was, but it was in a tent. And then the next place we stayed, where my father and mother stayed, in a tent too. So we stayed over that place while my father gathered his traps, which he didn't gather. And then from there we got to another place. You know, in springtime we can travel long ways on the crust. Then we got to Caltac, stayed there another day, laid over on account of an uncle I had down there. He wanted us to stay with him. And from there we made it to Nulato.
When you got back to Nulato, did you stay in town very long, or did you go to fish camp?
No, we went to spring camp. Everybody went to spring camp after that. We got there just for Easter Sunday, and there was double wedding there. It was Jimmy Silas and Peter Damaska, but they're both dead.
Where did your parents have spring camp?
Right across 9 Mile down here. They stay any place, you know. They don't stay just one place. Where it's good muskrat hunting, they always move here and there. But this time we stayed across 9 Mile down here, on the other side.
What kind of a camp did your parents make for spring camp?
In tent. That's the only camps we have in spring, is living in tents and spruce limbs on the ground, and just sleep on the ground. We don't need to have fire in the house, Lord. It's too hot in spring.
When was spring camp over?
In June. Oh, towards the last of May, but sometimes we get to town around the 10th of June.
Did you spend much time in Nulato then, before you went to fish camp?
No, not very long. We had to get ready to go to fish camp and prepare the place, because we were going to stay at about 7 miles above Nulato. And they had to start a new fish camp. My dad made a fish wheel, and we stayed there all alone. But there's camps all along. Some is 1 mile apart, some is 2-3 miles apart. Nowadays we don't see no fish camp along, all the way down here. The only fish camp we see is at Bishop Mountain, from here to Galena.
What did your father make the fish wheel out of?
They get drift logs or dry timber, you know, for the raft. And then they get poles, these spruce trees, them little ones for poles, That's what they use. They don't use no birch or anything, no other thing.
Was the basket made just out of spruce poles?
The basket was made out of fish wheel wire, what they buy from the store. They just make the baskets with the poles and then cover it with fish wheel wire.
Did you help your parents cut up the fish during the summertime?
Oh yes, gee, that was our work, to cut fish.
What did you use the fish for?
Well, for the dogs, and when we catch good fish like silver salmon or king salmon, we either make strips out of it or just work at it nicely for us to eat in winter time.
How many dogs did your parents have?
Well, they had about 6 dogs, 6 big dogs.
Did they have the dogs pull the sled in wintertime?
Oh yes, they did. That's all they had in those days. No snow or nothing. Just only dogs they depended on.
Did your parents... What happened when you were finished with Holy Cross?
I went back to school again the next year, but just till Christmas, that's all. I was 15 years old, 16 years old, and then there was a potlatch up here. And I stayed home, stayed with the sisters down there. And when they came back, they told me that there's somebody up there that wants you. And I said, for what? Oh, they want you for their kid. I said, I don't want to go up there, be somebody else's kid when I'm already your kid. They said, no, somebody wants to marry you. You know, we didn't choose our own who we loved. Our parents were the one that gave us away. That was forced marriages. And then my mother died before I got married. So I got married that way. And I've been telling the kids that they are lucky that they have all this good education. And us, we didn't have that kind of a chance. When we were about 15, 16, our parents gave us away to be married. And that way we didn't have much education at all. So all these kids are really lucky to have all the educations they could have.
What was the name of your husband?
John Dayton.
And how long were you married to John Dayton?
22 years.
Did you live in Nulato the whole time?
Koyukon. He was from here. And ever since that time, I just live in Koyukon.
Did you have many children with John Dayton?
I had... Oh, gee, I forgot. 10, I think. 10 kids.
When you came to Koyukon, was the town the same size it is right now?
It was way bigger than this. There was a lot of people in those days.
Were all the cabins along the riverbank like today?
Yes, all along in a line. It was way down and way up.
Were there many white people in Koyukon when you moved to Koyukon?
No, just the school teacher and the storekeeper, Johnny Evans. That's all. Later, way after that, Dominic Vernetti started a store here in Koyukon. And then Joe Naughty lived here in Koyukon too for a while. Then he moved up to Dalby where he opened a little store.
Did you still go out to fish camp after you moved to Koyukon?
You mean in those days?
Yes.
Oh yes, every summer we move up to fish camp. Our fish camp was 9 miles down here.
Did John Dayton also trap in the wintertime?
Mm-hmm. We moved up to Katil and stay up there till Christmas. Sometimes we stay the whole winter and come out in April, stay a few days, and then go back for the spring.
Did you ever come down from the Katil during the middle of winter for a potlatch?
Yes, we did. We even went to Nulato. Well, in those days, the priests never used to travel around as they do nowadays. So the only thing we had in mind was that midnight mass on Christmas Day. And we never did like to miss that. So we come down, keep on going down to Nulato, even all the people from Caltech, all the people from Galena, and most